Okay, it's Monday, October 28th, and we're going to start the Facilities and Transportation meeting. Present is Kathleen Haynes, Dr. Cooper, and David Rathgap, Kevin Strobel, and if you want to announce your name?
Diana Davey, Dana Godfrey.
Alan Halter, Nate Halter, Chad Fuller.
And Halter Landscaping. And the first thing on the agenda is Amity Township Park Agreement.
Yeah, I have some information that Mr. Hurley was able to meet with the township folks. I know the board had some questions regarding the agreement, and we were kind of going back and forth as a board in the township on how we would make some changes, who would be responsible for what at the Amity Township Park. I sent an email out to the board requesting feedback. Mr. Hurley met with Mr. Bingaman, and he took it to his board, and basically what it came back as was if the district would take responsibility for mowing the entire site and maintaining the fields, the township would agree to take responsibility for all the tree trimming and the mulching. Additionally, they said they were in agreement with requiring anyone that uses the fields to be responsible for collecting and disposing of the trash after the event. However, did ask if it was okay if those items could be placed in the dumpsters at the middle school. And the last item was the inclusion of the labor along with the materials. I think it was section 5D in the agreement. They would like to amend the language that if they, the township, can do whatever needs to be done as part of that clause, they will do so and build 50% of the internal labor and material costs instead of just, I think it was just included with the 50% of the material, I think it was originally. So they said they were in agreement to split everything 50-50, and if something needs to go outside because it's something beyond the scope of what they can do, they would seek best price and agree to it before moving forward with the district. So those were the items that they had come back with to see if the board was in agreement with those amendments before finalizing or moving forward with finalizing that document.
Right. So I have three things. So first, I want so the trees. Now does that include replacement of anything that dies? Because that was on us. So
They said trees and mulching.
are they saying that they're going to replace any dead?
Well, it says they would, I'm assuming because of the clause with the 50% of the labor and material costs, they would split it 50-50.
No, well, the labor material was in regards to the courts, tennis courts, basketball courts. The original agreement had us responsible for the basketball courts.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to add to our plate tennis courts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, okay, but it only had material in there. I wanted labor included. So that wasn't in regards to, that 50-50 wasn't in regards to trees.
So that was just to the courts.
That was just to the courts, I believe. So,
It's interesting.
so I would think that if they're taking responsibility for trimming the trees, that they should be responsible for any because we had to replace any dead trees in our area, as well as pest control if they need to spray for any kind of. I mean, we spent a lot of money for lantern flies or whatever, So
I could go back and ask if that would include that.
right, and I still have a concern about us doing all the fields. Because those fields that were not in our zone to begin with, if we look at usage, we really don't use those fields. From what I saw that was pulled from the records, those are mostly used by outside groups. You could argue that there are kids, but it's not under a school. I believe there was one field that we were using for some practice, which I believe we could reel in. I think we had the field. I think we had the fields in our zone to begin with that we could use the kids, but they were using one of the other fields to practice on.
I thought Rob took all the stuff that we talked about and they kind of agreed to everything. That's what I thought.
I don't think the fields were, I think the fields were still kind of up in the air.
Okay.
So, if we're going to be, and really most of those fields, honestly, you guys maybe can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of those fields are taken care of right now by the organizations that use them. So the township, I believe, provides material.
I thought that
And then
mowing,
those outside clubs come in and do all the,
Nobody's really using them right now. We hit them once a week. I'll hit all of them once a week. Besides,
Groom and stuff once a
yeah,
week,
like
yeah.
just keeping the weeds down.
Probably heavier use, I'm assuming, in the spring, summer, and fall.
Right.
when they drag them and line them and put all the infield mix in, the groups do that, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
but we do have 2 baseball teams and 2 softball teams at the middle school in the spring. So we have our 7th grade baseball, 7th grade softball, 8th grade baseball, and 8th grade softball. So we use 4 fields. During the spring. So, but that's just for the spring. I mean,
Right.
the summer and the fall, we don't use the baseball fields really at all.
in the fields, that's us putting the dirt back down, leveling them out.
Well, again, so
We're
that's
talking about- I thought-
most fields that are our fields, but a lot of times in the summertime you have outside organizations using them,
Right.
and they do most of the work. But if we're so if we're saying we're going to take care of the fields, then the outside group can come say, well, you're supposed to take care of them. Why are we taking care of them?
Right.
It's kind of been an unwritten rule that hey, township provides, they'll buy the infield mix, and the groups that come in, they don't pay to use the fields, so typically they take care
Exchange
of
of labor.
Yeah, so which is fine, which is
It should
fine.
be written in there, though.
But we should, if we're going to be responsible for them all, then we should have an understanding with these organizations that hey, we're not, So we need to figure that out
Since the
somehow.
township in the past supplied all the material,
Yeah, usually
they
that they
still
bought.
considering that?
If there was,
Is that a transfer?
that a lot of times
It looks like they would be showing that or putting that on a district. It's what I'm assuming based on
Or does
the
that fall
information
into
I
this
got.
50/50 again, too?
I don't believe that was.
Yeah.
I don't think that was part of it.
Right. Thank goodness you were on that committee those many years ago. Remember it.
Okay, just to capture this, go back and request some more information about the tree replacement
Yep.
as part of that, and also an understanding with organizations on what they will do to take care of those fields, maybe some type of language in there on, or perhaps what Mr. Stovall has mentioned on the cost of the Diamond Tech to the infield stuff being split or something like that.
Well,
Yeah.
it was in the past, it was on the township, and so, I mean, again, I'm really not familiar with the contract as to what it was, but if they covered it in the past, we split, did we cover all the trees last time? Is that what happened?
Well, so we
covered all the
were
mulch and all the trees?
we were responsible for the park was split into 2 zones. One, the licensed zone was what we licensed from the township.
Right.
That gave us priority usage on those fields and whatnot. So anything that was in the licensed zone, we were responsible to mow, take care of any trees, mulching, the fields, and all that stuff. Now, it's kind of gotten a little nebulous, and Casey thought we were supposed to mow the whole park. We weren't. We've been doing it for a couple of years now, right? We've mown the whole park, but we weren't supposed to.
We've been maintaining everything.
Yeah. So we should have been billing the township, in essence, so they've gotten free, lawn service, but it's fine, it is what it is. But Casey didn't know, he never read the contract.
Do it now.
But yeah, there was supposed to be a licensed area and a non-licensed area.
Right.
I'll check those items.
Yeah, we probably want to better our situation versus worsen it, so, okay. Fry Check.
Yeah, just some further direction on, what the board is looking to do with that. Is it something we want to move forward with, getting some pricing on replacing the roof, and basically taking that everything out so that we use it for storage, or are we looking to, as a board, to get rid of it altogether, or replace the items that are in there so it's functional again?
We went down and looked at it, and we looked at where they're currently doing the fries outside. And the concerns, it's worked really well this year. Whether they end up putting a little bit more of a permanent overhang or they're going to continue to do what they're doing, they talked about macadam versus concrete. It might be cheaper in that area back there, but so far it's been working for them. So they're out of the fry shack altogether. Last time we met, when I look at that building, it's got a foundation, it's got a concrete floor, it's got electric running to it. The roof's bad. And so is it good for a fry shack? No, there would be a lot of money needed to make that in the condition that it needs to be a fry shack, but it still has it's a building, it's a block building, it's a foundation, it's electrics there. Why would we just tear it down when we, for the cost of a roof? If we never need the building, great, but I wouldn't maybe put a roof on it right now because there's nothing in it, but I can't imagine tearing the structure down because I know 3 years from now somebody's going to come up with an idea they want to put something somewhere, and they had talked about maybe some of the track stuff they could put in there. So if that's the case, we probably should get a quote on the roof and use it for storage. But just to tear it down to make it go away, didn't seem that was just my recommendation. But Dave, where are you at on that?
No, that's fine.
I sent Mr. Hurley a price too, because we looked at the roof and we measured it out and everything. It was like $2,500 to get it all cleaned out,
Yeah.
put a metal roof on it, and re-plywood it.
Yeah, the door was fine. I mean, it wasn't that.
You do roofs too?
We have a guy who can do it.
There's a guy.
Got a guy.
He's got a
Do
guy.
every-
He's
got a
got a
guy.
guy for everything.
Oh, we always got a guy.
We found that.
Yeah,
We got a
flat
guy.
roofing can handle
Yeah,
it.
I got guys too. I got gals too.
You can probably pay more too, honestly, to tear that thing down. You're going to pay more than to fix it.
I agree. I just, it's, what you would use the power for, I have no idea. Maybe put a light in the thing, but it just didn't seem.
Got a lot of hurdles
Good to tear
out
it
there
down.
that get rained on, snowed on, that you can
Yep.
throw in there.
Yeah, put in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our game of chance booth. Sell our 50/50s out of there. Spin the wheel. Get one of those.
For some
I'll
free
throw
fries.
I'll
the milk
follow
bottles
back.
for the ball.
I'll follow back up with Rob on that, the specifics of that, and then we'll
Yeah, I
we'll
think
bring it back.
get a firm price on the roof. It's $20.
We'll bring it back
Yeah, and that was
next
to
month.
clean everything out.
And have to clean everything else. So I think that's
Yeah.
something we should.
We could bring
No.
bring it back to facilities next month to vote on, or
I don't want to. I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's a roof for $2,500. They're going to clean it out, make it good, and put a roof on it.
Yeah, that's not even really a discussion item. That's just an expense.
do it.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shouldn't have to.
doesn't make any sense not to do it, and then they'll have a place to put some of the
Store
equipment that's
the,
getting ruined by
If we were
sitting out.
removing it, that would be a voting item, but just the
Right.
fact that we're just repairing a roof
Repairing
that
it.
needs to be repaired. It's already been discussed here, so we can just put it on the agenda as discussed at facilities.
Salt bin.
All right, the salt bin's gonna go right into the snow removal bid as well. Those kind of comments combined together. We have already been having discussions about the salt bin. Now, we offer the snow removal, of course, the only halter. We're the only ones that, there they are. All right, so me and Nate have been going a little bit back and forth on the pricing, trying to figure out exactly, trying to get a good idea of how much is it going to cost us. I know what my budget is. There's also revenue from 2 leases that I've put into the lease to for River Rock, and that they have to pay a portion of the snow removal process for this building, and not the church, of course, but the other buildings, they do. But it's about $20,000 max per snowstorm, depending on how many snowstorms we have. That's going to be where we're at. Right now I think it's good pricing. Like I said, I don't think Halter, they've got a good relationship with the district. I feel confident that those are good prices. We did talk about the calcium versus the salt for the sidewalks. Per snowstorm, it's a difference of about $1,200, $1,300
Per snowstorm.
per snowstorm. So if you have 5, I mean,
There's a
really,
big difference.
and it's not
We
even,
use a lot of salt too. Yeah.
but it's only like $1,300 if you're saving the life
Yeah.
of the
Concrete.
concrete. I think calcium would be the way to go for the sidewalks. That's my opinion.
If you're going to have to repair them every 4 or 5 years because they're chipping, and they will chip, especially new concrete.
Right.
That stuff will chip quick.
Exactly.
So
So
We're
yeah,
spending some, the boards
Yeah,
Be
whatever.
voting to spend some money on the replacement of this
On
concrete.
concrete, which is one of the
Again,
things
I'm
on the
one
list,
person. If I'm
so
of the opinion, we go with the calcium.
I think the calcium would be a way to go. And now the salt bins, we were just talking about that. Salt bins, can we order stuff in like bulk, maybe to get a better price than what was on here for this? Perhaps we'll
Do we
talk
have
about
salt
that.
bins?
We'll have to talk.
But we're
Bins up?
talking about salt bins now to put at some of the locations. They have something at the high
There's one at the
school.
high school. We really just need one at the middle school. It's
How
gonna
big
save
is
a lot
it?
of time. How big is it?
Yeah.
It's enough to put like 2 tracks of loads in.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, 2 tracks of loads cover you basically 2 storms. So you basically run through a triaxle per storm.
Our biggest problem is sometimes getting from here across 422, depending where the accidents are on 422.
Right.
We have a hard time getting across 422 during the snow. We ran into that in multiple cases last year where
And no matter how you do it, it's 20 minutes. It's 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, 5 to 10 minutes to
Did-
load.
do-
We're burning a half an hour as we're supposed to if we have a bin at the middle
A bin.
school.
Did we ever have I think I mentioned this before, I don't know if we ever had the conversation. I mean, the township salt bin is right down the block from the middle school. I mean, can we buy salt from the township?
At their price, that would be great.
Depending on what they're going to
It's
charge us.
literally 2 minutes from the middle school, right? So
Yeah, so I mean,
and they,
for
they
this-
built
for
that
this
brand
side, it would-
that
it would
that
be fine.
that shed is humongous over there.
Right.
You can probably have our own pile there.
Right, yeah.
It'd be worth a
I mean, it's still-
conversation.
Yeah, it's a conversation. We still have to charge to spread it then, but then you guys can get a better price for all, I don't know. I don't know what their pricing is.
Yeah, we were talking about the bags because some of the stuff would be in bags. Or we'd like to get some of the stuff in bulk so that someone would have to bring their own instead of cart
I'll have
away
to
one
look
of our
into
bags.
If you want to go calcium, I'll have to look and see if I can get bulk calcium. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm just afraid people are going to walk away with the bags, so we're going to have to find and figure
What
out
we can do
all
is
the
break bags
secure.
open, and do that 55-gallon drum with her.
Well, we could do that too. That would probably be a better way.
No.
It's about 20,000 in salt per storm, right?
Well, it's 20,000. Like I did the truck hours, the wheel loader, the skid, the walking hours, the equipment walk hours, the ton of the salt on the lots, and the
estimate.
bags of. It's about 20,000. The cost about 20,000 per storm.
Probably run about 10 to 15 storms a year on average, I would say.
Is that still divided then? Is our custodial crew supposed to spread the sidewalk and they're supposed to plow?
That's my
or
sticking point.
is that-
It should have been more of a conversation prior to Interstate because Interstate's contract was negotiated the fact that they were doing the sidewalks. So now Halter's doing the sidewalks. It's something for the next contract, I think, that needs to be discussed because really I
State
don't.
is being paid for sidewalks.
Well, Interstate's being paid basically in comparison to what GCA was doing, and GCA was doing the sidewalks.
Maybe Interstate could pay Halters to do the sidewalks.
You guys
It's in their
catch
contract.
up.
Well-
They're saying it's in their contract.
Well, I don't know that it's in the, they came back and they pushed back because I don't think the wording was appropriate,
Ah,
so,
Gotcha.
but the price was, so.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna you are gonna check with the township?
I'll check with the township and see, I don't know if that's a conversation, yeah, I don't know who
So,
would get the better
You
price
guys is
there.
going to have enough staff to do the sidewalks and do the stuff?
Yep, I mean, we pretty much are.
I think it would be a challenge for inventory, like keeping track of inventory, unless there's enough room in there for, hey, you get 8 scoops because that's what you have
They,
left.
they,
or
they,
whatever.
they,
would-
they,
You know
they
what
built
I'm
this new salt shed a couple years ago. It's huge.
I'm not
You
gonna lie,
think-
it turned into a little bit of a cluster.
I think,
Taking their bin. I
well,
don't think that's-
and who gets first dibs? You got 4 trucks lined up and you guys need to get salt, and you're back behind 5 trucks. I'm throwing it out there from a whiteboard perspective. You want to
Yeah,
look at
I don't know.
angles, right?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's worth the conversation. Maybe
worth the
to
conversation,
say,
I
hey,
agree.
it doesn't make sense.
my concern would be if those guys weren't there to load it, would they be okay us running their equipment?
Right.
And I would have to say that would probably be
I
a
can't
negative.
imagine that.
Insurance reasons.
Yep. How do you how
Yeah,
would you how
that
would
would-
you load it over there?
We would have a machine over there.
You
But
have a
then
machine there, and-
We have a machine that can double as something that does the parking lots as well.
I
that
gotcha.
loads.
I
So
gotcha.
as opposed to having to run that machine that's already working over
Yeah.
there all the way over.
And how much is a bin? Do we know?
I didn't even.
Yeah, we didn't price it out.
Let's get prices on the bin. I mean, it's November, so the end of November. We could get some
Probably-
snow, but
Probably gonna run one. Yeah, me too.
Well, I was thinking that you wanted to put a bin at one of the buildings. That was something you were going to help with the cost.
I mean, we can.
That
that's fine.
just
Yeah,
that
we
was
can-
my that's where I was with
Well,
it.
maybe
I'm
what
just
we can do is like.
not to put you on the spot
No, that's
here,
fine.
but
Maybe
I'm
we
just
can do
thinking
something like you guys, like you pay for the materials, we'll just do it, something like that.
something, yeah, along that lines. That's some
Sure.
partnership
Mhm.
type of an
About that.
agreement we can come up with.
Blocks.
Block and then the concrete,
And what'd you say, 10 to 15 storms?
A year.
roughly.
It
Is there
needs
really?
salt spread, yeah.
Yeah, you'll need
Oh, just
So we
salt,
need
just
salt.
salt.
Well, no,
I'm not
salt.
talking about a complete
You might-
storm,
And again, you might have a few other storms that are like, you know, your little dustings or whatever, but.
Mhm.
but not like this. Like
No.
a storm
A
would
storm
be
storm's like
$20,000,
four
but I'm not going to count 10 to 15
No.
of those a
No.
year in my budget because I'm about to say, well, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and go now,
Take the-
you know, because I didn't
You
budget
take
properly.
the old roof from the fry shack and make a
You know
salt
what
bin
I
out
mean?
of it.
Okay.
So we are going to get a price on bin?
We're going to check the
That's-
bins, get that, we'll
Okay.
discuss that and see what that comes to so we can kind of work that
That
deal out.
area,
And then
that's
I'll
what-
call the township for the middle school, right? Let's see if,
Yeah, with the township.
It's worth a couple.
it's worth a conversation. We'll do it.
Nothing wrong with inter cooperation between government entities.
Okay.
Okay, booster purchase for dishwasher.
Yeah, that cost, I think, was $9,000 is what it came out to. The intermediate center needed a replace.
Is this the one that got
replacement
tagged
part.
on the health inspection, or is this just a different?
I think it's a different one.
Different one.
They've been kind of operating with that for a few weeks. There's a difference of maybe $400 if we go ahead and we purchase the install from the same company who's selling us the product. It's like $400 more than if we purchase it separate and have the group who usually does our installations do it.
It's got to
No.
be Hobart, right? I mean, all of them are Hobart.
I'm not sure what the grouping is. Rob has that specific
he has all
information,
those.
but the issue you run in with that is if you're having a different vendor coming in to install a part that they're typically not the ones that install that. You know, I don't know if it avoids any warranties or those sort of things. And I just think it's worth the extra $400 it would cost us to have people who are selling us and it's their product. They just come in and do it. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah. Would they be willing to come down on the 400? Or would ask them?
I don't know if Rob, he may have already done that. I mean,
He may have already done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
$400 for an install
And then
is
so
pretty
they would,
reasonable.
they're the ones that we repaired anyway? Or is that something that falls under interstate?
It can't be repaired.
Oh,
That what needs to happen there is it needs to be replaced.
be replaced.
Yeah, it's
So
beyond
if They
repair.
replace it, it's 400 more than if somebody else replaces it.
Then if somebody else replaces the part that's bought, right?
Okay, I got you.
I don't know. I would. Who usually does our install?
That's
No, I mean, I'm
far in the
misunderstanding.
weeds.
$400 more to get a new one than try to fix it.
no.
$400 more.
We're gonna need a new
to
one.
have to have
Okay,
the
so it's a new
OEM
one.
to have the OEM install it.
Correct.
As opposed to
Who we typically
the
have.
outside plumber or
Right.
whoever we use
Right.
to install it. But I would think
They have to be
whoever installed it would
Be
warranty a
responsible.
problem if there's
Right.
an issue. But that's like who usually does our.
Yeah. And is it
That's
something
deep.
that, is it something that's, from a standpoint of time, needs to be done quickly?
Yes,
Okay.
it does. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
we're-
because they're not. They're
we're
not
beyond
so,
right now.
So
We've been
it's,
kind of
it's,
piecemealing
it's
right
not
now.
proper temperature for sanitizing
Right.
for it's,
I mean, it's $400. I mean, it gets it in and the warranty's safe. I mean, do you want to have them make a phone call?
I mean,
Yeah.
so who's coming out to inspect the machines on a regular basis anyway? Is it the company we're using the chemicals?
Is it the OEM or?
Well, so usually it's like if you use like Ecolab, if you use their chemicals, the guy usually comes out and he'll test the machine to make sure it's operating properly and
Temperature and all that?
yeah. I don't know if you ever have anybody that does that or not. I mean, how did they
Rob's going to have more information. He was the dishwasher guy on this. So that's when he's done policy, he's going to head over here.
I'm
So
not oppo-
we can kind of circle back around.
Yeah,
and get
I'm
some
not
of those.
opposed to the 400 hours at all. It's just,
Yeah, 'cause
but
he
I
got a
also
better
think
price. He
it
got
might
the
be worth
three
a phone
people.
call.
You got
Three
people.
companies, he got the quote for the dishwasher itself. To install it, it's $400
Do we know
by the
that-
person that we actually buy it from.
Right.
That way, that person is completed from start to finish. Just
Right.
like if you buy,
Right.
whatever,
Some-
a train, air conditioning system, you'll have to get a
Somebody
trained
else
person to
coming
go all
in,
the way in.
somebody else coming in to
To
install
do
it.
somebody else's machine might not.
So we got prices
Install
from
the
them
price.
to install it. They're going to
Yes.
install it for 400 less.
No, they'll just. It's probably going to cost us about the same or close, wasn't it?
Close to the same.
Yeah, it was all
I
within
didn't.
reason.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think
If it's
the
only
difference in price
$400
is
for
like
them
$1.
to install it, how's the other company doing it for 400 less? I mean, unless it's
I think we were going to do it
5,000 to
internally. They were going to have one of the maintenance guys do it.
Unless it,
Like I said, Rob
I
is
don't
in the
think-
weeds
it
on
could-
this.
it could be
I don't think it's
whoever-
worth your time for
Yeah.
400 bucks. to
it
be
could be
honest.
whoever we got. If we
It's
got our
worth
equipment from
paying
Singer, it could be
$400.
Singer who's coming out to give me a quote to do it. I don't know. I don't know who.
I know he
Singer
got
was
3
one of them.
quotes and.
Yeah, so probably
It's like a
he
difference
might have
there.
bought the machine. Might be a Hobart machine we bought from Singer, so Singer would probably give us. They said I don't know if theirs is less, but yeah, let's wait till Rob.
Um, Birdsboro baseball field discussion.
There was somebody that called that wanted that put on the agenda to discuss it.
Yeah, and they were.
And they're not
I was
here.
under the understanding they were going to be here, but
Okay.
they're not here.
Is this
so.
the one at the elementary school?
No, this is the
No.
Legion Field,
Legion Field.
and I think
She emailed a couple times.
she did, and I think it has something to do with something with the fence, but they indicated they were going to be here.
Next agenda.
Their concern was the changeover of facilities person in the district, and Mr. Durso was the facilities chair, and the new folks not having the background information on it. So they were going to be here to provide us with
Okay,
some,
well,
but
let's move on. I mean, I know it's been back and forth a couple times with we're helping, we're not helping, they're doing it, we're
But they're
doing
not
it.
here.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're not-
Concrete bid results.
Concrete bid results, we got 2 people to come in, Drumheller and Dolan. Drumheller was significantly lower. Some people, when they have a owner-operator, they don't have to really follow they don't have to follow the prevailing wage, so they were able to come in lower. So
lower?
Drumheller, and they also have
And
good...
Strumhauer.
Yes, Drumheller has also done Springford, Eulenberg, and there was another school district I've called for references. They're pretty good. It's a good operation.
Do you know how much lower was?
113.
They don't
Thousand.
have to use prevailing wage?
No, they do not. Dr. Supers, they don't have to because the owner-operator doesn't have to claim his wages under prevailing wages.
Oh man, that'll cover the install and
On the dishwasher,
the
dishwasher.
it's all covered.
I'm gonna put that in there.
reallocate those savings.
So we'll be sending him a letter as soon as
Okay.
everybody votes on it. It's all good
That's
with us.
substantial.
As long as, well, you know, it was prevailing wage right there. As long as Supers is okay.
Supers
it's
do
okay with
exactly
Supers,
about
yeah.
it, yep.
I mean,
So we'll get that going. What do we got next? The energy discussion. We had the discussion, me and Aaron worked on this a lot for the energy. I did send all the attachments to everybody. Now prices are starting to go up for electricity for our vendor. Our vendor ends at 12/31. My recommendation is to go ahead and go with who me and Aaron said, but that's also a board decision.
And that, if I remember, that the current vendor's price, the quote is not guaranteed, right?
Right.
That's not a fixed.
Mm-mm.
It's not a fixed quote. Okay. And the ones you guys recommended,
It's going to be like about a $55,000 savings over what we're doing currently.
right? And so we're going with the all-in price that covers
Yes.
yeah,
everything.
they included everything, so.
Yes.
Nice job on you.
And we've sat down with him a couple times. Aaron sat with the Birdsboro has that for the township.
Mhm.
They use this company, IGS, and I've sat down with him, and then what I figured I would do is as soon as Bickerstaff starts, we'll have him come in and meet with him so they can,
What do you need to get started so we can lock in with the raises, with the prices not going up?
signature. But Subers has this right now, and he's looking it over. I told him
Okay.
that I would need it as soon as possible.
I
There
meant
might be
from
a
the board's
small,
perspective. What do we
just the
need to do?
signature. Just vote that
Vote that
IGS is in the,
IGS.
and then
Just a
sign.
recommendation from facilities to the board.
Yes.
Right.
At IGSP there.
I was,
So you would like that
little,
today?
do
that today?
I saw some of the
Actually, one, I think.
graphs did include
there
the peak demand, and, or, you know, depending on,
Just bring that.
I mean, I was trying to follow that, and I really wasn't
I tried to
successfully
follow
looking at that.
a lot, and that's where I leaned on Aaron a lot. And Aaron is very, very confident with this guy because there's anomalies that happen throughout the years.
Yeah,
And IGS actually,
Any conflict.
the way the agreement reads, they work with those anomalies,
IGS.
so they're not
Sam?
fixing us into something
Yes.
because of an anomaly.
Yes.
Okay.
And we had a spike a year
Right.
ago that they're gonna.
And the RFP for snow removal is the other one.
And what was the other one?
The RFP for the snow removal.
Hey, Mike, how
All
you doing?
push.
Right here. Sorry.
Pending solicitor review.
So that's what he's bringing that.
Mhm.
What part of that though we're going to go into? Is it the calcium?
It's already in here.
Oh, it's already in there. Okay, so it's already on there. So we don't have to bring it up. This
No,
being
you
read,
just
it's
have
already
to
on
be
there.
able to talk about it.
Okay, that's good. That's easy if I have all the information.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into the 10 or 15s, you know, checking with the township on all that stuff. We're just
Mhm.
talking about snow
No.
removal as a group.
Correct. That's the
Okay. HVAC,
I've got the final bid prices for the HVAC. It is going to be, to budget, it'll be about a $66,000 savings. If we do all the items together, the $28,000 is what the district is saving by piecing all of this together. So our budget was like 512 over the, last year, this year, and next year. I'm kind of combining it all, saving $28,000. And then if we pay for it upfront with the credit card, we also get the cashback option. I also get another
what's the
75.
total
So
cost?
the total
If
cost
we
is.
do it all, together?
I had that right here. Hang on.
392.
It wasn't that much. Yeah, I didn't think it was that
HVAC.
much.
It comes
So what are
down-
we combining though? I mean, where's the 28,000 in savings come from the crane?
I have my calculations. Hang on. We're combining the gym rooftop units. There's the auditorium units. There's the auxiliary gym.
Yep.
And there's also that location. Then there's some upgrades for some controls at the high school that needs to happen.
Yeah, you know my controls. You can-
There's a high school.
Train.
The high school room 135 is completely down, so that has to be replaced completely as soon as possible because that also runs the heat in that room. And then if I combine the middle school, the middle school, the primary center, and the intermediate center, those three together, and upgrade the controls where the controls are obsolete, it'll bring everything into the system completely and save us $30,000 by combining everything. And to budget, it's 65.
Are there any changes that need to occur with the admin going over there or anything? It's all.
No,
we're
we
all good
talked
over
about
there?
that. I met with the train guy last Friday, and we talked about it because the way that the walls are going up and everything, it's fine. It's not going to jeopardize anything over there because you have your units in the individual rooms.
I don't want any sweaty employees that can't work.
Oh, I know, I understand.
Well, I don't know. It makes sense to save the $30,000. We're going to spend the money.
Plus,
either
if
way.
we spend it up front,
Yeah, that was the whole
then we get
rationale
some
for doing
more
it
on the
together.
I'm going to do
Correct.
the
So you
procurement
save
card
the-
so we get cash back.
we
If
get
you do
cash
the
back
list,
on it
Is
too.
that on our thing for tonight too?
The HVAC,
Yes,
I believe
it's on
is-
the
yes,
agenda.
it
We
is.
just didn't have the final,
Right.
final number.
We didn't have the final
Yeah.
number.
because you're saving the-
total final numbers.
I had it somewhere. Hang on one second. Let me pull up that one sheet that I had.
Because the
open.
majority of that savings was from the crane.
351,000.
You have it?
Yep, it's right on the agenda,
Well, I actually,
351,000.
because I added those couple items, that was the 351 that we weren't going to do until, no.
That was closer to 390.
Yeah, 386 was my number in my head, but let me make sure my head's right. Because there are some
That's 30
savings.
more.
This thing keeps popping up. I can't get my G drive, sorry. Let me see if I can work on this list.
Well, while you're looking that up in this In
Yes.
the spirit of time, we can go
Keep
right into
going.
miscellaneous.
Mm-hmm. Right, we'll open up the floor to the young lady.
Here, you can pass these around. Dana and I are the high school yearbook advisors, and basically our account over many years builds up a balance because we sell baby ads and things that make a profit for the book. So what we like to do is give back to the district when we have built up a balance. So the last thing that we did was purchase the digital sign outside of the high school on Chestnut Street. So what we would like to do is build a courtyard outside for the students and staff to be able to eat lunch outside or work outside, obviously with supervision. So we came up with this plan and we wanted to present it to you for potential approval. Do you want to share the details? So we put this is the scan, the document, we put it on there.
Now I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We did get multiple bids.
Is that in our upkeep too?
We got a bid from Halter Landscaping, and we also got a bid from Solid Rock Landscaping. Solid Rock offered to donate some of their time because they have, Rob Kurtz has children who graduated from the district, so we offered to donate about $4,000 to $5,000 toward the project. So this is the proposal from Solid Rock Landscaping. So basically, and we have the details here that outline what everything costs. But we basically got a quote for a walkway and sitting area, which is what you see in the middle. And then we also got a quote for landscaping around the outside, which looks very nice, but is very expensive and will cost more to maintain. So then we asked for another quote to, instead of do the landscaping around the outside, to fill that in with paving stones or river stones. And that quote was more affordable. So our plan is to contribute the cost of this project to complete it. We have all of the funds to complete the project. And then we would like to get, and we have the funds to complete this too, but to have the students have kind of ownership for it, we'd like to have JROTC make wooden picnic tables and wooden benches that they've already offered to put together. We just need to pay for them or have clubs donate them. Like I said, we have the funds to cover it, but we thought it would be nice to get some support from other clubs so that more clubs have ownership. So we have the funds to cover it, so it's not really a cost issue, but we haven't decided where those funds are coming from yet. But basically, we have enough money to cover the whole project.
Yeah.
So that's our proposal.
And you need permission, help me with this, Dave, first. You need permission to give us something for free.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Well, you gotta really watch.
You gotta watch the free word free.
Hold on, I've heard that
Beware of
before.
Greensbury gifts. It's really true.
The Trojan horse.
We wanted to make it as low maintenance as possible.
I understand.
Because we
Well, that
know
was my first question, was
yeah.
how much is to maintain? I'm looking at all that
Right.
landscaping, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well,
Right.
and that's why we got the two quotes, one with the landscaping and one without. The
And so-
landscaping looks pretty, but it does require maintenance and upkeep,
Yeah.
which we are not.
Right, and we also
responsible
didn't
for,
want to
so-
leave grass anywhere in the area because we didn't want you to have to worry about mowing around it. So we wanted to make sure that the entire thing was covered.
Right.
So
All
that
the
is
corners
what-
have to be
yes.
able to be sweet. No.
So where is this located?
So
All
if
these
you're
will be
looking at the
stone?
high school main
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
where the cafeteria juts out,
Right.
and then the library juts out, it would basically be the space in between the cafeteria and the library.
It's like a
So-
little inlet area.
Okay.
So it's directly to the right of the cafeteria, directly to the left of the library.
And there are already doors
from both
access points.
Yes.
Right.
So is that, I'm staring at the front of the building, it's in the front?
It is
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
Yes, it is in the front.
There's two. There's one that's between like the high school office
Yeah, yeah.
and the cafeteria, and then on the other side is the cafeteria and the library.
And we proposed that side because then, I don't know logistically how this would work. Obviously, it would have to be supervised, but potentially during lunches, if students are in the library, we have a teacher already out there monitoring the area. Students could go out from the library and potentially use the area as well.
Or teachers could take their
Yes.
classes out there to
Yes.
work if they wanted to
We
work
came up
outside.
with the plan because we both have our classes meet in the library for AP seminar and research. And we were sitting there on a beautiful day and we thought, It would be really nice to have a nice outdoor space. There's an outdoor courtyard in the annex building. There's not really anywhere for us to take the students in the high school side of the building, so we thought this would be a nice area. We also have talked to the wellness committee, who said that they would be interested in donating a little bit toward the project. We were talking about doing yoga and some of the activities that they do and using the courtyard for multiple purposes. So
Great idea.
that's kind of our thought process.
And currently in that space is grass.
Yes,
Right.
it's all grass.
There are
Beautified
two
building.
little, like,
Nikki, you'll-
Concrete
Concrete.
paver areas right
outside the
yeah.
doors, but that's it.
So
Chickens for
is
two.
this,
So-
this way of the parking lot over here?
Yeah, where it
Okay,
says solid
this
rock.
is-
So
This is the parking
Oh,
lot.
this is
Yeah,
the parking
so
lot.
this is the library,
Yeah.
this is the cafeteria,
Got it, okay.
that's the back of the building,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then this is the driveway up
Okay.
here. So it would be this
So
space right in here.
any thought about maybe putting a little fence or something?
We discussed that, and that was something that we said, we met with Aaron Spores about this at the beginning of the school year, and we suggested the idea of a fence. It kind of was left up in the air. Our thought process was, it's going to be monitored, and if there's 57 plus doors at the high school, if the kids want to get out, they're going to get out regardless.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
think
we're
you
not
put a
adding
fence
I
it.
wasn't, I wasn't more out, I'm more
Yeah,
in. I'm more.
I was worried about
Yeah,
somebody coming in
yeah.
and vandalizing it, because the
Yeah.
courtyard
Right.
is protected because it's actually inside
Right,
the building.
right. And we
With
know
the
it's,
fence, when you
yeah.
have doors like that, then it's going to have a gate because
That's what,
fire
yeah.
exit,
So we were talking about that because it would have to
You're
have
going to have to
an
have doors
exit.
in it anyway,
yeah.
so it's not like you're going to fence it in and keep every.
Yeah, that was really our main point that was up in the air about the whole thing.
Yeah,
that
we had
were-
thrown that around
Yeah.
a couple times, thinking.
That's what you
counts
if,
as a
if
fence.
people would kind of be, who don't know the high school, would kind of be walking up and go, oh, I can go in this way. That was my other, I don't know.
And those doors
Those
would
are
have to be
egress-
locked at all.
Those are egress doors, aren't they?
Yeah.
They should be just egress doors anyway. right?
Well, if we're gonna have kids out there, they're gonna have to be open because they're gonna be going back and forth, right?
That is another logistic we would have to figure out. I mean, the doors have to remain locked. Like,
We had
know-
talked to
yeah,
about
a
having
swipe card access,
so
but
the
that's
teachers could
yeah.
use their swipe cards to get in and out,
But that's
but we weren't
obviously-
sure. Yeah.
So if a kid goes out for lunch, you have to get teacher has to swipe them back in.
Yeah,
Or-
if,
Yeah, well, a teacher would have to be out there regardless
Yeah, yeah.
because they couldn't be unmonitored.
We have teachers along with a security person on lunch duty, so we figured one of the teachers. We have at least two teachers always on lunch
Mr.
duty.
Spores
so,
is in.
Yeah,
And
an
there's, yeah,
administrator.
principals or-
So we
Wouldn't have to be an extra duty person out there, maybe, or
No.
no?
we figured. I mean, the people who are in the cafeteria are usually more than enough to, unless
Right.
something major is going on. If one person went outside and monitored that area, you'd have some of the kids going outside. So,
Right.
they'd be
So
teaching
there would be
the
less
students,
kids
but there'd
in
be
the
less kids
cafeteria.
inside in the cafeteria. I don't think monitoring would be an issue. The main thing that we were discussing was how are we going to let them out and back in, making sure that the doors are secure.
Right.
Even being able to use it for class time.
Right.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Need a-
we
need-
could
need a-
easily walk around the front of the building, but that's not quite as logistical.
Trash cans too.
To get there. Yeah, we'd have to have trash cans.
Yeah.
I think we could afford. We could add a few of those to the budget, but yeah, you're right. We would have to have
did it.
trash
What did they
cans.
need from us today?
We did not.
Just, if it's gonna come out of facilities, if you agree to it, that, agree to
Good.
the proposal for the courtyard and the donation, what is it, $19,650
Yes.
by the yearbook, high school yearbook.
Yes.
to fund
Yeah,
the
I think you
project.
just want to identify what the costs are
Yeah.
for the two doors that you're going to be, you have to have two-way access. Find out what that cost is so we know what the all-in price is.
Okay.
Yeah, and just
I like the idea.
I mean, I know they just confirmed with admin that they're
Doors.
okay with us, the other things to make sure that we're good with that. So, I mean, I think it's great.
I do too.
But,
I like the idea.
Yeah.
but
So
I'd hate
we're
for it to get built and also be like, it's just too much of a nuisance, and then we don't use it.
Right.
So that's the only thing I want to make sure. That,
And so
Put the greenhouse in
The
there.
cost of changing the doors is on the school. Yes? Or is
Yeah,
it-
where would we just have to know. We can talk to Aaron about
Doors.
the
Yeah,
logistics
discuss the
of-
cost.
Yeah, more doors.
Yeah, I don't know what, I mean, without looking at what type of doors they are, and,
I have no idea.
if it's something you have to put
Okay,
a.
the door
They
needs
don't
to be
have,
replaced, it's just a
they're
lock.
not wired, I'm sure they're not wired for
No, you'd have to
strike.
run.
I think the ones on the library are the old red metal doors, I think, because I know that we've had trouble.
Yeah.
If one gets open, it's hard to.
Anytime we
to
deal
get
with
it
doors,
closed.
it always has this dollar sign,
Yeah.
and it's always a big number.
And then the doors, I believe, on the cafeteria are the newer maroon doors, I think.
Yeah.
But
So
I
then
don't
we're
know.
going to wait to get that information? Is that the idea then? Okay, great.
You'll have to look for
Yeah,
that.
Okay,
yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you.
yeah.
Awesome idea. Good for the kids.
Now I know where the digital sign came from. I wasn't. Yeah. Where did that come from?
Yeah,
How
that
do we
was
figure
our.
that?
Thank you.
Yep.
All right,
Except for the power supply that the company put in it the first time, it kept shutting off.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
the price of the HVAC, I'm increasing, the 351 is what was on there, but then I asked them to get me more price quotes. So I'm actually increasing that by 135,650, but we're only paying 118,567. So the total will be 479,150, and that's not including the rebate we're going to get because we're using the credit card or the procurement card. That should be about $10,000.
So it was somewhere in the 500s then?
479.
I'm saying it was somewhere in the 500s?
Yes, it was
If we
512.
separated everything, 512?
Yes, yes.
So that 351 is 479.
It's 479, 150.
479, 150.
Can I ask where we're at? I mean, Mike and I are almost done here. Where are you at with Birdsboro as far as doing any kind of protection or, you know, on that
Remediation work.
Well, I mean, we still have, we extended the contract with CDC.
Right.
So, I mean, they have basically, I think they're waiting on an answer to move forward with.
They had an
The
engineer come in.
the
They
engineer
kind of
come
like
in,
looked
yeah.
at there and they're kind of like putting it all together for us now.
Right.
Do they have a timeline on completion?
We have to kind of go over that. We'll have to bring that up at another
Yeah.
facilities meeting.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be more of a discussion at that point.
right.
Because it seems like we made a decision to do it a year ago, and we're
And
still here and nothing.
We
haven't
bought
put-
ourselves another.
We haven't touched one brick yet.
And you know, you're going to have a whole new board come in that's going to have enough issues trying to get themselves acclimated, and they're going to have to, you know, I'd hate to see how to deal with trying to figure out what to do with this with Birdsboro when they're trying to get everything else under the belt. You know?
I think what was the original cost for that? $500,000, somewhere in that neighborhood?
We weren't sure.
No, it was,
Wasn't,
3 to 5?
I think it was like, what, 2 something?
it was,
Oh,
yeah, it was
wasn't it?
in the 2 area, 2 to 3.
I think we had just talked about sealing and doing some
Basically,
recalking and
Just the
some
recalking
small
seal and sealing.
couple masonry, a little bit of
And then there
recalling
also was a
It was-
price, I believe, from the lentil over the window. There was.
That wasn't done, well, we don't have that because we needed the
We're waiting
engineer.
for the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer
Yeah.
is in there looking.
But there was some brick that were falling out on the one side of the building, and the first 4 feet was pretty much falling off or destroyed from the salt.
I mean, I know that the future of the building's still, you know, way up in the air, but, you know, I thought we as a board, we agreed to at least try to protect the investment, make sure there's no more deterioration there. Is what I thought we agreed to do, so.
I think too, we want to make sure that we're putting some numbers in front of the board also as to what the cost of that building is on an annual basis.
No, we
you know,
knew, I mean, just like this building had a cost for closing it.
Yeah.
You save money, but there was still a cost to keep it,
Yeah.
to maintain it. You know, even if the building's empty, you gotta have some level of heat. and whatnot
Heat,
in there.
electric, yeah.
But the thing it had going for this building is, it was closed 3 years after it opened, after it was just renovated
Right.
for $9 million.
Right.
So the whole justification for closing Birdsboro was to take some of that savings and reinvest it back into the building. So, you know, we have it closed for 2 years, but we haven't really done anything to the building. So,
more discussion about that, or what are we doing? What are we doing with that then? Is it
Or who's the engineer that went out?
CDC? Or the
Boyer.
the new engineer? I'm
Boyer.
not sure.
Was it
Boyer.
Boyer? Did he come back with the report yet?
Give you a quote?
Did he come back with the report?
It's kind of, it's just waiting for a discussion.
Okay,
We can put that on for the next agenda.
okay.
I'm good. I'm just,
Anybody else have anything?
Apologies. We thought it was at 7.
Okay.
So sorry.
They're always at 6:15. It's all good. Unless you have anything, we didn't have anything for you. So, I mean,
We just, with the loss of Casey, and, we normally dealt with him as far as the field over there where the high school plays, and Aaron Durso.
okay.
That's normally, because he's in the borough, and the borough is part of the American Legion, borough, and facilities jointly. So we just wanted to make sure that the commitment was still there to have it mowed. And they did agree to buy the yellow fence topper.
To replace that next season.
And then there's a hole in the, I'm sorry, the guys aren't here, but the right side fence of the outfield. And that's a small repair. But that was all that was agreed to. So we just wanted to make sure we were all on the
Agreed
same
to
page.
by the school? The school's
Yes.
going to fix that? Okay.
Yes.
I don't remember.
no, Casey never mentioned that to anybody.
I never
Yeah.
Casey mentioned the yellow top.
I don't remember the yellow top. I remember mowing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
right.
we
We got mowing.
I remember the mowing part. I don't.
The contract,
Right.
but he did make a commitment to the.
And Aaron didn't leave yet. I mean, we can still call him. So just to try maybe jog our memories. But I just don't remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was just that, it was just those three things.
And we can go back to the minutes of the meeting, I guess, if there's any minutes or somewhere in there. We can take a look at, find
Okay.
out, what's going on with that. So we just don't want to.
You said it was
Do
a
you have a
fence
call?
repair? You said it was a fence repair in the
Yes, sir.
right field?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Is it a
It's
hole
actually
in the
a-
fence, you said?
It's a safety hazard is what I'm told, so.
That's always the word to get people to fix things. Yeah, oh, it's a safety hazard. Okay.
That's what I was told to say.
Exactly. No. Trained well. No.
Like, is it man size?
We haven't.
We don't know, the guys that take care.
And this yellow cap, is that on the fence itself then? Is it plastic?
It's
Is
so that the outfielders see when they're trying to catch, they see.
Right. What's on there now?
It's
It's there now. It just needs to
mostly
yeah,
there now,
yeah.
but it's just old and brittle.
Old and
Okay.
faded and-
apart.
I got you.
We can check out the hole.
Yeah, we can, when our guys go to mow this week, I'll have to.
Okay.
Look.
It's a fence cap in the mowing. We've already, that's happening. So we're really talking about two items then, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Awesome.
Did you guys make a decision about moving admin? Are we doing that?
That's.
That's on the voting meeting, as soon as they vote on it.
And then anything about the walls?
The walls, I have another quote.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it better than ours? I'm just curious. If it is, that's fine. I just wanted to.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's got different things to it.
Well, it's Halter Landscape.
Oh, no, it's also jack of all trades.
That's right.
So,
That's fine. I just want to let him know. Like, I want to let my guy know that it's probably not going to happen.
And then the bleachers, we already got a quote on that. That was significantly cheaper, and we just ran with that one, so.
That's fine.
And that'll be on the agenda as well, so.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. We're gonna-
I just wanted to
Yes.
come and introduce ourselves. My name is John Copley. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Klein Transportation. This is Wayne Klein, who is Klein Transportation. And this is our first joint facilities and transportation meeting, so I wanted to make sure we were here.
The faces are similar.
I did call you today.
Yes, I'm sorry.
The email, yep, that's all good, yep, so, and if you just send that stuff through
Yeah.
to the three, and then we'll make sure it gets on whatever the agenda needs to be. Is there anything that you guys need to bring up?
I actually had a meeting with Mr. Hurley this morning, so
Okay.
we're pretty good. We did want to just get some clarification, and I already talked with Kathleen about this as well, about that trip system. Currently, we're using
TransFinder for our field trips, but we're using spreadsheets for athletics. And it's difficult to keep things, and we've had this discussion already. We're trying to figure out how to do it, but we haven't actually been able
Which one do we use for the bus tracking?
TransFinder.
And is there a reason we would go to the other one?
Well, the spreadsheets, I'm not sure.
Between TransFinder and our accounting, our Skyward, we should have no spreadsheets in the district whatsoever.
Yeah.
Everything's happening
Maybe there's
right
Trans
there.
Skyward.
I mean, there's nobody objecting to putting it all in.
Well, from my understanding is, we have a new athletic director and a new athletic secretary.
Yeah.
Is that
They haven't been trained yet? Is that?
Well, no. I think that it's more an issue of they have to double enter things to get it in.
I think it's a matter of making a phone call, because I'm not sure if it can be imported or not, and I don't know, did that take place in others?
Well, you know how TransFinder is. I think
Did
the
they
call
get,
was,
the call was put in, I thought Joelle was handling this.
right. I
Right.
don't think that she's really been able to get
And a good response. Because there's got to be something you can dump from that STAR program and then dump it into TransFinder. I'll talk to Joelle tomorrow and
So then the goal was to get athletics in the TransFinder.
That would be helpful for us. Either that or not use TransFinder, use a spreadsheet, but you have it. Doesn't
it's
make
better to
sense.
use TransFinder.
So,
Didn't TransFinder save us
the problem
some
is
time and
having
effort?
two
Yes, it
different
So
that don't speak to each
I think
other.
just a matter, as we get our
process, that's all, yeah.
as we get our new director on board too,
Yeah.
starts next Monday.
Direct those
Fourth.
things a little bit more
Yeah,
hands-on. We're
so-
excited.
Yeah, that'd be easy.
Another
That's an
hand.
easy one.
I'm already emailing him.
Okay. You ain't even started yet.
I already started sending stuff. Here you
Send.
go. Here you go.
Why do we open this computer?
Okay, great.
He
Since you
responded
guys
today.
did come, I hate to say this because it's always a jinx. Last year,
Here.
we probably heard a lot of complaints about long bus times, fights on buses, and basically the bigger middle school kids not fitting in their seats very well. How have the changes been so far to any of those situations?
They've been very good. Very much better.
And I know Rhodes isn't here to
It's better on their side too. We made a lot of suggestions to Joelle, and Joelle took a lot of the suggestions, and I'm happy that she did. She has really been an asset to us in the process of changing runs, which is always a tough process anyway, but it has really been remarkably better.
Splitting up
Good.
the
That's great
elementary
news.
schools,
Right.
That's helped
That's
a
the
great
other
deal.
big thing.
We spent a lot of time going between the two schools.
I think we had some of that data at maybe it was last facilities meeting or committee of the whole, and it decreased the amount of time that our kids were spending on the bus.
Right. Which decreases discipline
Decrease the
issues.
discipline issues.
Yeah, driving fatigue. There's
Yeah,
so
so
many
it kind of has a
It's a
snowball
rollout
effect. Yeah.
Because even the overages, the mileage, the
Yeah.
overage, we're doing it, there were significant savings in
Mhm.
overages. We cut a bus,
Two.
2 buses.
Yep.
We've done significantly
Mhm.
better this year.
That's great. Good news. Thank you.
The nice thing is once it's set, it kind of just rolls the next year. With TransFinder, it's
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it just rolls. There
Minor
shouldn't be,
tweaks.
Shouldn't be the
it's not a
challenge in the
mass
beginning of the
change,
year.
it's not
Yeah.
an implementation, it's
Yep.
just a roll.
Excellent. Okay. That concludes our facilities and transportation meeting.